Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Ride.
I'm Ryan, and I like Ride.
I'm Dan, and I despise Ride. And this is the Deck the
Hallmark
Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host his podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hey there, hi there, everybody.
Oh, you sound amazing, Bran.
Thank you. It's good to be back in the host chair. You did a swell job yesterday.
Thank you. I thought I did.
I
The
did
reviews
feel-
were in, and they were unanimously just like excellent.
Wow.
They said we don't even need you. Most people.
And I get that 100%. You did besmirch my name and how I feel about the troops. But that's okay.
Did we mention you didn't like the troops yesterday?
Once or twice, I think.
Unbelievable.
Or twice.
That would come up.
Honestly, it might have been a baker's
It came
dozen.
up a half dozen times at least, Ryan, that Bran was not in the episode because it was about the troops and he does not like the troops.
Yeah, there's one thing Bran hates. It's a troop homecoming.
Yeah, that's right. And you know
get it.
what? And he, it was all in Philo for everybody to see.
That's exactly
So
right.
you're here
That's
in your
exactly-
horse hat and you're ready to set
I
the
am
record
here in my
straight.
horse hat. Honestly, I would have taken this episode off, but some things are worth powering through, and the horse hat is that thing. There's only 10 episodes of Ride. If I can't miss one with the
No.
horse hat.
That'd be a
That
90% horse hat ratio. You can't
It's
have
like,
that.
sand in the hourglass.
Yeah.
Those episodes of Ride. They're just, man.
Barely an A- at
Yeah.
that point. Yeah.
I don't like to lie. I've been saying I said that I love Ride, and I just want to say I think I've come to the conclusion that I don't love it.
But-
and I do want to put it, I know I say it at the beginning of every episode.
Including When Calls the Heart, when there were long stretches where you did not like that show either.
That's true, but that I feel like Quinn Calls the Heart for me ebbs and flows.
And
Like
really?
there's still times when
there were long stretches where you're like, I hate this.
Hamilton was a tough go.
Yeah. Yep. And then season 7 was real bad as
Yeah.
well. Never
Yeah.
forget. But you know what? It's fine, Brand. You sound like you hate the show because of you're a little under the weather.
Thank you.
You're-
Thank you. My thing with this, I don't like things that are boring.
You know what's crazy is in the comment section, BrambleJamPlus.com. If you're a double decker, you can comment, watch these videos live. It says that we get to celebrate with Brand being back the least boring episode of Ride so far. And I don't know who said that comment, but we're going to have probably a stark disagreement amongst us.
I'll save my thoughts.
Let's get
Yeah,
to it. Let's talk
get to
about this episode is called Estella. April 16th, 2023 is when it premiered.
Estella!
Thank you. And it went a little something like this. V and Cash go on. Would you call that a four-wheeler? What would you
It's an
call
ATV.
that? An ATV?
Yeah, let's
gator?
Let's
A
not
gator?
dumb it down. It's an ATV.
I'm sorry,
Brand.
an ATV. What's that stand for?
Automatic transit vehicle.
So you don't have to do anything. It just does
It does
for
it
you?
for you. It's automatic transit.
Amazing. I love that. And V asked Cash what he got his mom for her birthday, and
It is
he's like,
all-terrain vehicle. I'm just letting.
"Oh, okay, good." And what'd you get for your mom's birthday? And he's like, a whole bucket of uh-ohs because I forgot. Missy gets a call from Gus, and he's calling to see if she will give some riding lessons to his niece Sophie. And maybe I can come along and hang out with you, winky face emoji. I'm imagining that's probably how he
Yeah.
would have texted that. The crew decides that they are going to throw a birthday party for Isabel. So Missy goes to get the cake and ends up bumping into her mom, Connie. We all knew that.
Yeah, Connie lives in town and
We
works
all
at a
know-
diner.
we all know that
Come on,
about
man.
her.
You don't need to just remind everyone.
I know that she was married to Isabel's
Isabel
son.
is a belly dancer, from what I understand.
I know she's married to Isabel's son, but in my mind, Isabel is her mom.
Yes.
So it was shocking to me when I found out that she's not. She's
She
not
has
her
two
mom.
moms.
That's true.
She has two
She
moms.
did not marry her brother.
She did not marry her brother. In my mind, they're separate, separate but equal. Missy ends up grabbing coffee with her, and and gets mad when her mom is judgmental about her still being at the ranch. Missy is like, "You wonder why I never come around." I don't know what that voice was. Tough and Julian are hanging out, just goofing around, doing a little good goofs. He tells Julian about the IDs he found of V, and Julian is like, just chill, man. You don't know what she's going through, and she's like family. So Julian's a good guy, but Tough isn't having it. Tough is like, well, I don't know. V wants to join the boys' poker night, but they're like, do you even know how to play? Got him. Tough finds his mom in the stables. It's midnight, and he gives her a birthday present and is like, I want you to know that we're here to care for you. You don't have to do everything yourself. And she's like, I'm not some old woman. And he's like, whatever you say, Ma. Missy and Cash are finishing up a training session. Missy is about to take off, and all of a sudden Gus and Sophie comes walking up, and Cash is like, cool, this is great. And Gus is like, hey, don't worry, bud. This is all pleasure. No business here, as if that helps the matter. V shows up for the poker game, and the boys are like, okay, I guess so if you're here. But then they see her shuffling the cards and explaining poker, and they're like, oh, so it's like that. Yeehaw. Gus and Missy sit down on a picnic blanket and immediately lose Sophie. They interrupt the poker game, and everyone goes to look for her. She ends up being in a treehouse because she's sad that her mom's going to remarry some other guy. She brings her back, and Gus is like, thank you so much, and they agree that they want to see each other again. It's a surprise party time. Missy says Isabel gave her the best home she's ever had, only for Connie to walk in right behind her as she's saying this. Connie and Isabel talk, and Isabel's like, Connie, you're a great mom. And Connie's like, as if. We both know that's not true. Tough is annoyed to see V and Cash being all chummy, so he decides now is the time to throw the fake IDs on the table. She explains that she lied because she was in debt to the tattoo guy. The fake IDs were to hide from that guy, and she would go around and she'd make money to pay him back. And she says, don't worry, I only do poker now for beer money.
That's right.
So
That's right.
Nothing to worry about
No
here.
problem
I
at
can
all.
control myself. Yes.
No problem. V then goes by a fire pit, if you will, to burn her IDs. And she gets to the ID from Texas with the name Estella on it. Oh, that's the name of the episode. And we see a flashback of her, maybe a teenager.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Walking up the stairs flower. Yes.
With a flower. And her mom, I guess, is in bed dying probably. And she's like, I love you, mommy. And her mom's like, I love you too, Estella. Estella. Cut back, and she throws the ID in the fire. No more Estella here. And that, my friends, was Ride Season 1, Episode 4, Estella.
We did it.
We did it. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, and we'll break this episode down with 4 segments here on
Take
the Hallmark. Nailed it. Welcome back, everybody. You did a great job yesterday with the cue.
Yeah, no, and especially at the synopsis, I nailed it.
Oh, you nailed it, 100%.
Yeah.
It was
Just stuck
perfect.
the landing.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ride Season 1, Episode 4, Estella. And I'm going to kick it over to my friend Ryan. Ryan, what did you think of Estella?
Well, I was telling you guys before we came on air that I once got strep throat during Men in Black International. Like halfway through the film.
What?
Yeah, halfway through the film, the strep hit. Like I was enjoying my icy and I felt good.
You certainly weren't enjoying the movie.
The blue raspberry. Mwah. But
Dude, right? Is there any other icy flavor?
No, I mean, sometimes I'll try these specialty flavors, right?
Get out of here.
Blue Raz.
Blue Raz.
I'm a Blue Raz guy. I also recommend the Icy Pops, but that's a different podcast.
Which podcast is that?
Tell me, please.
Icy Pop Central.
Oh,
Icy Pop Central. I love that.
We'll brainstorm that further.
Yeah, after. that's a double decker. This episode reminded me of getting strep during Men in Black International. It didn't feel good, but I finished watching it anyway, right? I will say, though, I see a lot in the comments right now. I think we mentioned it up top. least boring is probably the way to describe this episode. I thought the cold open with Cash and V on what we're now being called as a UTV was kind of fun, and the dialogue seemed kind of organic and snappy. And then the reveal with Missy's mom, I thought was like interesting enough. And then I expected the show to fall off a cliff from there. I don't know if it ever fell off a cliff, but it also never like really got me. Gussie was great, and we'll talk about all that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a prereq.
Yeah.
And I thought that looking for the missing kid was not bad, but it wasn't interesting. Like, I mean, finding a missing child is a good thing. Like, you know,
we love that.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, you know, other than Brand hating the troops, he loves looking for, you know, missing persons, you know? But the episode, it just never fired on all. I said last week that I thought last week was the best that the show could do. And if that's the ceiling, that's not great. This week was better. So I was wrong. I'll admit that I was wrong. This is maybe the ceiling. And this show, this version of the show is maybe palatable enough for me because I know there's an end date, right? We got to do this 6 more times. With that said, I am not calling this a good episode of TV. And I would say that if this is the ceiling, that's still not great. And I also don't know if the show can do this every week. So that's a problem.
Ceiling's the roof.
The ceiling's the roof, and the roof
is on fire.
It's on fire. I think that's what we're getting at here. I understand why someone might say that this is the least boring episode. But it hit me differently. I may have been the strep, but it also, I think it was finally the point where I gave up on it being any more exciting than it is. I think I kept waiting. Like, now that the V thing with the tattoo guy seems to have some sort of resolution, I'm like, what is there to live for in regards to this show? So that's a bummer. I will say this is the first episode. You guys have been Team Gussie for a while. I've kind of been playing the sideline reporter, and I don't really know what I mean by that. But I will say,
let's go to Brand for the results.
This is the first time I've been, you know what? I'm all in on Team Gussie.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you are. Bring it.
There's that. 3 of us, Team Gussie. And I do consider that a win, but just another okay episode of Ride for Brand.
Ryan said this was the least boring episode. I would say it's the most boring.
Oh dear.
He would say it's not bad. I would say it's not good. I got to be honest. If this is the actual answer about Valeria, if it's gambling debt, if the one thing from the pilot that sparked any interest in this show is done in episode 4 and written like somebody's like, well, we could just call it gambling debt and then move on. It's going to be unforgivable. I was so furious when we get this big reveal in episode 4, and it's just like, yeah, I had gambling debt. I had to go pay it off. Now, if for some reason she's lying and Austin was in something nefarious and it's bigger than that, then great. I don't think she was lying. I think it's a bad television show, and I think she's telling the truth, and there's nothing else to be seen there. I like Cash and Valeria together. I like Gussie together, but boy, planning a birthday party and playing poker mid-morning is not my idea of riveting television. Even the missing kid was like only missing because Gussie decided that a picnic was more important.
Yeah.
I couldn't, and producer Aaron solved the mystery in 5 seconds. We'll get to that later. This was bad. This was bad television. Bored to tears. Least favorite. Thanks, no thanks. Ride, you're slipping into Win Calls the Heart territory, and I don't like it.
Wow.
Dan doesn't like it.
Everybody in the chat is saying that V is clearly lying, so maybe there's more.
If V is lying about the gambling debt, then I will retract my hot take.
Wow, a full retractal.
A full retraction. Not full as in the show's amazing, but like full as in like, yeah, okay, then that storyline, I'm not angry anymore at that storyline.
Dan, if Valeria's lying, you got to say that this show is amazing by the end of the order. That's how it works.
No. Show is not amazing.
I understand.
If Valeria is lying, it's better. It's a better show. Did you think she was lying, Ryan, when you watched it?
At the moment, no, but the end of the episode leads me to believe she's probably lying, because she's clearly lying about a whole different life. And
Yeah.
also she's if the answer is that she's gambling debt and her lie is that she's still gambling, this just might be a flawed person. And yeah, she's probably lying about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she's still my favorite character on the show.
Easily.
Sure.
So
let's get to feels. Where we talk about what gave us feels in this one. Ryan, any feels for you?
The horse was getting ready to give birth. Remember they did that on the way home? That was a good show.
It was a cow. Yeah, that was a good show, wasn't it?
Yeah, remember, that was probably the worst episode of the way home, and that was much better than this.
Yeah, it was the worst episode of the way home, and it was better than anything Ride's done.
That was better than this. Gussie is a prereq, as I mentioned earlier, and so that, there's that. It was great, and then, granted, the picnic scene, they might as well started playing Firework by Katy Perry, but then we lost a child because of it. So it's a mixed bag. I did like the scene with the UTV, because I used to work in maintenance, and I would drive
between a UTV and an ATV.
Apparently, a UTV is for work, and an ATV is for play.
Yeah,
but they do the same thing.
Utility.
UTV is like, there's more room side by side to and you can haul more stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always thought they were all ATVs, but I didn't grow up on a farm, so there you have it.
Yeah, I that's fair, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I used to drive something akin to a UTV, smaller. I think I was a community college maintenance man, and man, I wasn't good at driving that thing at all. And I once almost tore a wall down, and seeing those two whip around in the old field made me happy for a few seconds. And that was at the beginning of the episode, and then I wasn't happy much the rest of the way. But hey, those first few seconds were great.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah.
Last night I watched Top Gun Maverick.
Oh,
and the girl who is a part of the Top Gun crew,
Phoenix,
maybe. When I was watching that, I was like, "Is that V? Is that Valeria?" It's not.
Good feels, Bran. Nicely done,
Dan.
The best scene this week does belong to, I guess we're gonna call it Calaria. Vash. Calaria sounds better than Vash. We can. When they go out in the UTV, it is like there's some chemistry there. There's some sparks there. It's not Gussie level, but what could be. We can only, one day. But it's good. It's good stuff. That was fun. It was a good mix there. And then from there, the show just took a complete nosedive.
Is anyone else confused as to what happened with Cash and Missy were hot and heavy there for a couple episodes?
I think they want us to think it's a square, right? I think the show is trying to get you invested in all sides of the coin.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I just don't. I don't want Cash and Missy anywhere.
They're just not good together.
Near each other.
There's no. I actually do. Dan, I agree. I think Cash and V have some chemistry.
That's right. Yeah. I agree.
The girl from Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, the girl that we thought was from Top Gun Maverick.
Cash and Phoenix have some chemistry.
Oh my gosh, forget about it. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the wait, what, and the
ride or die.
Ride or die. You're on Deck the Homework. Hello, ninjas. Welcome back to Deck the Hallmark, talking about Ride Season 1, Episode 4. It's time for the Wait What part of the show. We talk about what in this movie episode made us go, wait, what? Ryan?
The cake for Nancy Travis's birthday couldn't have been decorated any more pedestrianly. And I wonder if the part of the beef between Missy and her mom is that her mom works for this bakery, this cafe, and they just do really subpar work. Because it was just like happy birthday. I think it said mom, and like that's not. I mean, like you couldn't even use a real name. It was like very, very
real bad. Real bad.
Great. Wasn't great. Val is without question the most interesting character on the show. But we go almost 4 full episodes without questioning her at all. I think we said this last week, other than for like 90 seconds here and there. And in this episode, there is a whole poker game and several other scenes with Tough and V.
Yep.
And we don't I mean, they kind of play it, and Tough is kind of playing it, but he's totally content to not say anything. And then with no inciting incident, he's
At
suddenly
all.
like, I found these 45 IDs and now is the time to talk about this. And it just seemed like, why didn't you do that 2 weeks ago? Or why didn't you do that during the poker game? Because that would have actually been a pretty interesting scene to do it in that very awkward, uncomfortable moment. I don't want to keep harping on the writing, but that's just not good writing to me.
I thought the same thing, Ryan, but then I realized that Tough was waiting for the end of the episode.
Oh,
he kept going. He was about to use that bullet, and he was like, wait a minute, we're at minute 21? Not yet. Save it.
Company man.
That's right. He gets it.
To the point of the poker game, as best I can tell, it takes place during the middle of the workday.
right.
Yeah. No, you're doing the Lord's work there, Ryan. It's in the morning because Gussie, they go for a horse ride and they say it's the morning. And while they're on the horse ride, they are playing poker and drinking beer in the morning. And I'm not here to tell anybody what to do or when to do it.
Not our side.
But that is a move. You have a weekly Sunday poker game in the morning?
Right. And also, as best I know, a property like this doesn't take a day off.
No.
Right? And
No.
also, about 10 minutes prior, Valeria's really steamed because no one's working. So her solution to no one working is to join in on this poker game during the workday.
Well, she's got to make beer money.
Yeah, stalls clean, horses fed. That happens on Sunday too, guys. Yeah. That's how farms work.
Yeah. And then they're all impressed she can shuffle, which makes like, oh, she can play cards. She can shuffle. And I got one more here. What's it say? Oh, this is my favorite moment of the episode. Maybe my favorite moment of the series. There's that Nancy Travis love interest, and he comes around when they're looking for the kid. And he's like, and she's like, a kid's missing. And he's like, I got to go look. And she's like, no, there's already too many people looking. Because apparently there can be too many people looking for a missing child.
Yeah, I got to go looking. Dale, what's the count at? A dozen? Listen, we don't want to get crazy looking for this missing kid. We've already got a dozen people out there. You stay here and mind the horses.
I loved it. I howled. And that's it for me.
Oh, man.
One of the downsides of having a morning poker game with alcohol is that if a little girl goes missing,
you're in big trouble.
All the cowboys that are going to search for this child are, a few beers deep at that point.
Right. That's right.
So they just sent all the drunk cowboys out there to look for
I've told you to stop smoking cigarettes for years now. The chickens are coming home to roost.
Go to Dan.
Pall Mall. Yeah. So my wait, what's, there's a mute button over there. You can even use that if you wanted to. I want to piggyback on this poker situation briefly. Not only are they just a few beers deep mid-morning, which whatever, once again, live your life. I'm not here. Look, Sunday's a day of rest, man. You want to play poker at 10 in the morning, have a beer, you do you. They are
church looks different for everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amen. Sunday's coming. And they are impressed not only that Valeria is shuffling, but that she announces with supreme confidence the rules of poker. She says all of these things that are supposed to make the boys all like so incredibly like they're blown away at how much she knows. And what she says is you can check if there's no bet. That's a rule of poker. And if somebody calls, they have to match the bet. That is also a rule of poker. None of that should blow anybody away. If I sat down at a poker table like, what we're going to do today, guys? You can check if nobody's betting. And if you call, that means you got to match it. Everyone would look at me like I was a dummy. They would look at me like, yeah, have you ever read a book before, Dan? But Valeria says it, and everybody's like, wow, she's a card shark. And then she said deuce is wild. Whoa. Valeria at the poker table, we got to watch out for this one.
Deuce is wild.
So stupid. I do love how the entire family decides to whisper plan the mom's birthday party, and she is literally 10 feet away in a stall in a barn where it just echoes nonstop in there. Like it is not, you are not safe there. When the kid goes missing because Gussie is having the time of their lives at a picnic, it took 5 seconds, and producer Aaron is watching this with me, and she goes, The treehouse. She says it just like that. And then they're still looking. And she walks out of the room to go get something. And then I hear from the other room go, treehouse. And then she comes back in the room and they're like, well, where could she be? She talked about wanting a home. And I believe Erin may have cupped her mouth like this and went, treehouse. And then right after she says it the third time, they're like, Missy's like, oh, the treehouse. If a viewer has cracked the case in 5 seconds, you probably should know where the person is and have at least looked there before you send a dozen drunk cowboys and one horse doctor against his will out to look for the kid. You may want to do that. This horse doctor that has been around in horse doctoring based upon how old he is, and he says for years, according to Nancy Travis, has never misdiagnosed anything ever.
Yeah.
Does he talk to horses? Like, does he like have some sort of Mr. Ed communication with them? How in the world? The animals are tough to diagnose, guys. They can't tell you what's hurting or where. Like, he's never misdiagnosed anything before. That seems like a stretch. And then last but certainly not least, can we all pull our money together and chip in and buy? I know we talked about this already. This ranch has to have money for better rodeo training equipment. We have to do it. We have to. That can must be the same can they use for shooting practice. It's a mess out there, and it's embarrassing. All the rodeo training scenes are embarrassing in this show.
Well, have you ever seen anybody rodeo train?
No, I've not.
Have you Googled to see if this
Yes, it is bad. It is bad for what you could do, especially for someone who's a professional bull rider. This is bad.
Okay.
So let's fix that. Can we all come together and fix it?
Really quickly, Isabella blew out the candles really aggressively.
She did. Yeah.
Really aggressively. And my last one is V says to Tough, you had no right to go through my stuff.
Yeah.
And I would beg to differ.
Yes.
When you leave your stuff in a stable,
in a barn,
like, I think that's up for grabs.
That's not your. That's
not
not
for
your
grabs.
stuff.
That's not your stuff.
You do that wherever you
Not
want.
a conventional place for stuff.
If you leave your stuff in a public place and someone walks up and sees a little manila envelope, who's not looking?
No,
inside?
everybody's opening.
Who's not looking
looking
at that? That was a little bit too much for me. Let's get to ride or die. Ryan, what are you riding or dying today?
I got 2 quotes from Gus for Ride. This guy can read a line like nobody's biz. Let me tell you. He at one point he's talking to Missy on the phone. This is right around when she met her real mom, and he goes, "You're all over their social media, and it's a killer promo." And I just was like, first of all, people don't talk this way. But Gus does, and it made me smile. And then at one point, not quite. Telling the old the Nancy Travis love interest to not look for the missing person. But my second favorite moment of the episode is they have begun while producer Aaron's like, treehouse, they're looking all over for the kid. And they're out of luck. They've looked at this point probably for 45 minutes to an hour. And at one point, Gus, just in the middle of an open field, goes, if you're hiding, come out. And it's just like
nice job.
I don't
Gus.
think she's hiding, my guy. But man, it tickled me, and I mean, I'm glad we found the kid, and I hope this guy keeps reading lines this way because they're not good, but they're great, and I love it.
They're not good, but they're great. That's accurate.
Another episode without Tattoo Guy, so the count remains at 3.
Brain's
Never
been happier.
My ride though is, do they have a sauna out in the middle of a field? There was a hobbit house out in the field, and they go and they
Shire,
and they open it up. It's like a round door, and it opens up, and it looks like it's like some sort of sauna. Do you remember this? Yeah. Was that a sauna?
I was wondering because it looked very much like a sauna.
It did look like a sauna.
A weird place to have like a storage shed.
A weird place for a sauna too. Either one is weird. I want to know what it is. But if it is a sauna, why not?
Why not?
Sometimes you're out there, you're working.
Sometimes you want a sauna.
Sometimes you're
really
working out
hot
in the
Texas.
field,
yeah,
and you're like, it's sauna.
Got to get a good sweat going.
I have the cash for a sauna, but not a mechanical bull.
That's right.
Exactly
Just
right.
an old tin can. What are you going to do?
Dan?
Yeah. My ride or die is completely the Valeria storyline. If it is a lie and she's covering for Austin, I'm riding. If it is not, I am dying, and the show is dead to me.
Wow.
My ride or die.
That is
Liar
bold.
die.
Yeah,
That is
that's how
bold.
you use that, by the way, guys. We figured it out. Ride or die.
Really good.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out more next week. We did, everybody. Another episode down. Another one coming up this Sunday. You can watch it on the philo.tv/DTH to sign on up, and you can watch Ride and then our episode for talking about Ride
That's right.
on the Philo. Until then, maybe we're the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmarks of Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.